At 8:13 p.m., somewhere above the black, rain-soaked wilderness of Washington state, a man stepped into history and then vanished forever. The rear stairs of the airplane dropped into the storm like an open wound. Wind screamed through the cabin. Rain lashed the metal fuselage. And standing calmly at the edge was a man no one truly knew. He adjusted his tie, shouldered his parachute, and without panic, without hesitation, he jumped. No screams, no witnesses on the ground, no body, no answers. Only one name remained behind, written on an airline ticket, D.B. Cooper. To understand how one man outwitted the entire United States government, you must first understand the world he walked into. It was November 24, 1971, the night before Thanksgiving. Air travel was casual. No metal detectors, no ID checks, no armed sky marshals. You could walk into an airport, buy a ticket with cash, give any name you wanted, and disappear into the sky. And that's exactly what he planned to do. At 2:50 p.m., a man approached the Northwest Orient Airlines counter. He'd paid $20 in cash for a one-way ticket to Seattle, flight 305. He gave his name as Dan Cooper. No ID required, no questions asked. He looked ordinary, polite, quiet, and inside his briefcase was the beginning of an American legend. Flight 305 lifted off at 2:50 p.m., carrying 36 passengers, 6 crew members, and one secret. Cooper ordered a bourbon and soda. He lit a cigarette, crossed his legs, and waited. Shortly after takeoff, Cooper handed a note to flight attendant Florence Schaffner. At first, she barely glanced at it. She assumed it was a phone number. Then he leaned closer and said, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." Her smile vanished. Cooper calmly opened his briefcase. Inside were 8 red cylinders, wires, and a battery. Whether it was real or not, it didn't matter. Florence Schaffner believed him, and so did everyone else. His demands were precise: $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, a fuel truck waiting in Seattle. No hysteria, no shouting. This wasn't desperation. This was planning. Seattle was thrown into chaos. The FBI scrambled. Local police surrounded the airport. The president was briefed, and still, Cooper waited calmly in his seat, sipping his drink. Authorities complied. $200,000 in unmarked bills, serial numbers recorded, 4 parachutes, 2 main, 2 reserve. They hoped the extra chutes would prevent him from jumping. They were wrong. Once the ransom was delivered, Cooper did something unexpected. He released every passenger. No hostages, no panic, only the crew remained. And then he prepared for the impossible. Cooper ordered the plane south toward Mexico. Low altitude, slow speed, landing gear down. Conditions no sane person would choose to jump into. But Cooper wasn't improvising. This was the plan. At 8:13 p.m., a warning light blinked in the cockpit. The rear stairs had been lowered. Somewhere over the wilderness, D.B. Cooper stepped into the void and vanished. No parachute was found, no body recovered, no definitive landing site ever confirmed, only a mystery falling endlessly through American history. When Flight 305 touched down in Reno, Nevada, something was missing. Not a passenger, not a hostage, a man. The rear stairs were open. The night air poured inside, and D.B. Cooper was gone. For the first time since the jump, the reality hit the authorities all at once. He might have gotten away. FBI agents stormed the plane. They searched every inch. What they found was unsettling. A black clip-on tie, 8 cigarette butts, a seat cushion cut open, instructions written calmly in pen. But no Cooper, no blood, no torn parachute, no trace of panic, only evidence of a man who had planned this carefully, based on flight speed, wind, altitude, and time. The search zone stretched across thousands of square miles of dense forests, rivers, mountains, swamps. It was late November, cold, rainy, deadly. Many agents believed one thing: no one could survive that jump. Helicopters swept the sky. Troops combed the ground. Search dogs tracked every scent. Nothing. Not a parachute. Not a shoe. Not a dollar bill. Weeks passed. And still, no body surfaced. The FBI gave the case a name: Northwest hijacking. And it was already becoming something dangerous. A case with no ending. The public wanted answers. The media wanted a villain. The FBI had neither. The newspapers couldn't stop printing his name. But they got it wrong. A reporter mistakenly wrote D.B. Cooper instead of Dan Cooper. The error stuck. And with it, a legend was born. D.B. Cooper became more than a criminal. He became a folk hero. Who was he? No fingerprints on file. No criminal record. No confirmed identity. Some agents whispered something unthinkable. What if D.B. Cooper never existed at all? Investigators re-examined the parachutes. One was a military-style chute. Another was non-functional. Cooper had chosen carefully. He knew parachutes. This wasn't luck. It was experience. Every ransom bill had its serial number recorded. Banks were alerted nationwide. If Cooper spent even $1, they would know. Years passed. Not a single confirmed bill surfaced. It was as if the money had vanished, along with the man. Two theories battled inside the FBI. Theory 1: Cooper died on impact. His body swallowed by the wilderness. Theory 2: he survived and walked away. What terrified investigators most was that both were possible. The longer Norjek dragged on, the uglier it became. Mistakes were questioned. Decisions criticized. Egos bruised. Someone had let him jump, and no one wanted to take the blame. The FBI began chasing ghosts. Veterans, pilots, paratroopers, men with grudges, men with secrets. Hundreds of suspects, thousands of interviews, and still no Cooper. As months turned into years, one truth became impossible to ignore. This case was different. It wasn't fading, it was growing. And somewhere out there, alive or dead, D.B. Cooper remained untouchable. By the mid-1970s, the FBI had a problem no task force wants to admit. They had too many suspects and not enough truth. More than 800 men were investigated. Most were eliminated, some weren't, and a few refused to disappear. Investigators focused on men with specialized knowledge: paratroopers, Air Force veterans, military survival experts. Cooper had known too much: the aircraft, the parachutes, the jump conditions. This wasn't a lucky amateur. This was training. One name refused to go away: Richard McCoy Jr. In 1972, just months after Cooper's jump, McCoy hijacked another plane. Same aircraft type, same parachute escape, same method. But there was a problem. McCoy was home in Utah on Thanksgiving 1971. And Cooper was already a ghost. Then came the confessions. Men walked into police stations claiming they were Cooper. Others bragged in bars. Some wanted money. Some wanted fame. Some wanted forgiveness. None had proof. The legend had become bigger than the crime. Another suspect quietly drew attention years later: Kenneth Christian, a former airline employee, military background, knew aircraft systems, After his death, relatives noticed something strange. He'd suddenly had money, gold coins, hidden savings, but suspicion isn't evidence, and Norjack demanded proof. Inside the FBI, morale eroded, files stacked higher, leads went cold. Agents began to ask the question no one wanted on record: what if we missed him from the beginning? By the late 1970s, active searches slowed. No new evidence, no new witnesses. Norjack wasn't closed, but it was sleeping until a discovery woke it up. In February 1980, 9 years after the jump, a boy digging along the Columbia River found something impossible: rotting stacks of $20 bills, still bound by rubber bands, still matching the ransom serial numbers. The money was real, undeniable, and deeply troubling. If Cooper had died in the forest, how did the money reach the river? If he survived, why abandon it? The discovery didn't solve the case, it fractured it. Theories exploded. Cooper drowned. Cooper survived but lost the money. Someone else planted it. The jump location was wrong. Each theory created two more. The truth slipped further away. Families accused relatives, friends accused friends, some turned on the dead. Everyone wanted to solve Cooper. No one could. By the end of the 1980s, the FBI admitted privately the trail was gone. Evidence degraded, witnesses aged, suspects died. Cooper wasn't just missing, he was slipping into history. Without answers, America did what it always does. It turned mystery into myth. D.B. Cooper wasn't a criminal anymore, he was an idea. Did he survive? Did he die? Or did he walk away watching the world argue over his shadow? One truth remained: D.B. Cooper never came back. Years after Norjack went cold, one name resurfaced with force: Robert Rackstraw, a Vietnam veteran, helicopter pilot, explosives expert. He knew aircraft, he knew survival, and he had a history of deception. To many investigators, Rackstraw fit too well, but fitting wasn't enough. Some believed Cooper had taunted authorities. Coded messages sent to newspapers, cryptic language, a tone of quiet superiority. Rackstraw denied everything. And once again, the FBI hit the same wall: suspicion without certainty. Time is the enemy of truth. DNA technology advanced, but Cooper's evidence had degraded. The tie? Contaminated. The cigarettes? Unusable. The parachutes? Gone. Science arrived too late. In 2016, the FBI did something unexpected. After 45 years, they officially suspended active investigation. No press conference, no dramatic announcement, just a silent admission: D.B. Cooper had beaten them. Was Cooper brilliant or reckless? Did he land softly or fall unseen into the forest? Perhaps the truth is simpler and harder to accept: that some stories don't end. Cooper endures because he represents something rare. Not violence, not cruelty, but defiance. A man who outsmarted systems, exposed weaknesses, and vanished without explanation. Did he spend the money? Did he watch the news and smile? Did he sit quietly at a Thanksgiving table, knowing he'd changed history? Or did the forest claim him, silently and completely? We may never know. Because of Cooper, everything changed. Air travel security tightened. Aircraft designs were modified. Rear staircases were sealed. One man rewrote aviation history. There are criminals we remember for what they did. And then there is D.B. Cooper, remembered for what he became: a question mark, a whisper, a shadow stepping backward into the sky. On a stormy night in 1971, a man opened an airplane door and walked out of certainty. Half a century later, he's still falling, not through the sky, but through American memory. If you're fascinated by mysteries that refuse to die, like the shadow of D.B. Cooper still haunting America, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe now and turn on notifications, because we're diving into the darkest, most unsolved crimes every week, and you won't want to miss a single secret revealed.